Good afternoon, everybody. Due to overwhelming response from my first and second Paul Harrell clip show videos, I decided to make a part 3. I don't know if I'll make a part 4, though there is more than enough content to make 5 or 6 or 7 of these. I really want you to go check out his content anyway and try to find these videos.
These are Duluth Trading Company Flex Fire Hose work pants. They're rugged, they're durable, they have a lifetime guarantee, they have all kinds of pockets, they're very practical, but the number one reason I wear them is because they stretch and they can move with me. Muzzle-loading shotguns are a lot more powerful than people give them credit for.
With that, what the hell am I talking about? Today we're talking about spring compression. For me to do any kind of empirical study to really show this phenomena, does it or does it not exist, would require that back in the disco days I loaded up a couple of hundred magazines and then left them loaded till today and shared the results with you.
The first thing is what's called the rack the slide deterrent. Now what that means is that when you see someone about to do something violent, you rack the slide and put a round in the chamber of your shotgun, and that acts as a warning and will dissuade them from doing whatever violent thing they were going to do. You can do it with a lever action rifle. Halt! You can do it with an auto-loading pistol. Halt! You can do it with an auto-loading rifle. Halt! Now, there's some guy on YouTube, and he's got a lot of home defense videos, and he says, you will almost always be invaded in a home invasion robbery between 2 and 5 people storming your home with quick and overwhelming force. That's fact 1. Is it?
We're on the way back from deer hunting, we're in the car, and I look out across this farmer's field, and I see a coyote out there. Now, it's private property, we're not going to go shoot it, but I made the comment if I could shoot that coyote from here. And one of the adults in the group told me, "Oh no, Paul, that coyote's really far away. You'd need more than just your 30-30. You'd need more like a 30-06 or a 270 to shoot that coyote from here." Okay. That coyote was about 60 yards away. How far did he think a 30-30 would shoot?
Well, let's shoot the meat target and see if we can shed any light on that. Now, for those of you who haven't seen this, what it is a pork chop to simulate a pectoral muscle, followed by pork ribs, and then this bag of oranges to simulate lung tissue, and then more pork ribs on the back. And I'm not going to cover it with 4 layers of denim, but I'll cover it with 2 layers of t-shirt, and then 2 layers of denim, and then behind it, as always, is a high-tech fleece bullet style. The third thing is the concept of pulling the trigger and racking the slide. Now, with a rifle, people will talk about pressing the trigger or squeezing the trigger. With a shotgun, I'm going to pull the trigger and rack the slide. And there's a word that goes with that, and the word is pull rack. It's very important to remember that pull rack is one word. I'm going to pull the trigger and rack the slide as part of one motion. Also, while racking the slide, I'm going to transition from one target to the next, so there isn't any wasted time or motion. So with the idea of pull rack and with the right stance, let's see if we can put that into practice. And after shooting, I always want to remember to top off load. One of the reasons guns like High Points get judged negatively is because they're ugly, and a lot of people equate aesthetics with effectiveness. Let me show you what I mean. This is a Colt Mark IV 80 series in caliber 45 ACP. It has genuine Colt wraparound rosewood grips, it's polished stainless steel, and I'm wearing the requisite bling to shoot a pistol like this. But does the fanciness really make it shoot any better? Not bad, but let's see how that compares to the high point. Shooting does not have to be a fashion show. I couldn't see much difference, could you? And I'll bet the targets couldn't feel the difference in effect. Okay, let's go duck hunting, but don't shoot Rick Dees. Too bad. Now this is my 1972 Plymouth Roadrunner. It's kind of the opposite. It's got a 440 Magnum V8, 3-speed automatic transmission, and the posi rear end has 391 gears, which makes earplugs mandatory when driving it. And although the top end isn't all that great, it's really good for acceleration. Let's see if we can put that to the test. Okay, for those that are still here, let's get to the boring part where I talk. Okay, so pat me on the back. Now let's get on with it. What we're talking about today is a segment of the population that previously has not been firearms enthusiasts, but now they're looking around and deciding they might need to get a gun or two. And the reason that people are doing that is because of a word that I've been told I shouldn't say, so we're going to use a code word. And the code word is beer. Get it? And I'd appreciate it if you used that code word in the commentary. But because of that, and people buying a lot of guns when they haven't been firearms enthusiasts up till now, I have some information that might help those people make some good decisions in those purchases. The question comes up, just how bullet resistant is half-inch thick sheetrock? Let's see if I can demonstrate that. So here's our wall, here's you, and here's a baby Browning in caliber 25 ACP, which I have loaded with Hornady Custom 25 ACP 35 grain jacketed hollow point. And I'll shoot this from 5 yards. Sheetrock is not particularly bullet resistant. Now, there's a couple of things I want to add to today's presentation. In talking about shooting at 25 yards and comparing patterns, I know there will be a significant number of people who will have an episode that my mother used to call a conniption, and they will send me hate mail telling me how stupid it is to shoot at 25 yards and how superfluous it is to do the comparison at 25 yards, because in a personal protection home defense shooting you would never shoot that far. There's a few things to be said about that. First, although most self-defense shootings are going to be at short range, some of them will be at longer ranges. And I don't like to think in absolutes of what will or won't happen. And I don't like to use terms like that could never happen. Secondly, even though we're talking about personal protection home defense, there are people who will watch today's presentation and apply that information to hunting, where you probably will shoot more than 25 yards, and I'm taking them into consideration. Again, for lack of a better term, this movie was really stabby. I expected to hear that psycho sound effect any moment. And now the target on the right.
We're going to start with our M16 platform, and I'm going to shoot from the prone so I can make sure that the bullets travel horizontally through the target medium.
I may end up continuing to fire after I hit the soda jugs just because from this angle I may not be able to see it.
Well, how'd we do? It took a lot of rounds to chew up these cinder blocks. By my count, it was the 31st shot that hit the first jug and the 41st shot to hit the second one. Now let's reset this up and repeat that with the AK. All right, now let's repeat that with the AK. Well, how'd we do? Well, the first thing I have to point out is that it never actually poked any holes in these soda bottles. They were knocked over by the cinder blocks falling down. But that having been said, the first one went down with the 19th round and the second one with the 26th round by my count. Significantly less rounds than it took the M16 to do it. And just by looking at the results on camera, it sure seemed like the 7.62x39 round chews up cinder blocks more so than a 5.56 will.
Well, we're traveling today, and I'm talking to a colleague of mine. This is Chuck. Now, Chuck, you know that I own quite a few shotguns, but my primary home defense shotgun is this Winchester Model 1897. Now, you keep a shotgun in your home for home defense, don't you?
I do. I have this Mossberg pump.
Okay.
Yeah, I installed an aftermarket stock and foregrip on it.
And how you like those?
Yeah, it works okay.
Okay. Now, I was watching a presentation on shotguns recently, and there was an expert on there who described himself as a SWAT cop, saying that shotguns suck for home defense. And that was the word he used, suck. And he cited a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons he cited that both of our guns suck is because they're not consistent with each other. Obviously, with the exposed hammer as opposed to a safety, mine works very differently than yours, and the slide release works very differently, and so on. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't really need to know how your gun works. I just need to know how my gun works. It works very well.
Really? Okay, I'm still traveling. Now I'm in a different colleague's house. This is Saul. Now, Saul, you know that I own several shotguns, but my primary home defense shotgun is this Winchester Model 1897. Now, you keep a shotgun in your house for home defense. Tell me about yours.
Well, this is a Remington 870.
Okay.
It's got an 18-inch barrel. It's got an aftermarket magazine extension, holds 6 rounds, plus an aftermarket folding stock.
Excellent. Now, I was watching a video presentation recently, and there was some guy who described himself as a SWAT cop, saying that shotguns suck for home defense. That's his term.
Okay.
And he said many reasons why they suck. One of them was because they're different from each other, making them more difficult to master, as in both of ours suck because they're so much different from each other. What do you think of that?
Well, in my house with my shotgun, I don't give a damn how your shotgun works.
Really?
So what I've got here is 3 thicknesses of this R13 insulation, which is more than what's going to be in just about any wall. Now, this isn't going to stop high-powered stuff like your M14 or your AK-47, So let's start with a small handgun of mediocre power. Now this is my Colt model 1908 in caliber 25 ACP, and I've got it loaded with Hornady Critical Defense 35 grain jacketed hollow points, and we'll shoot from 7 yards. Well, that was interesting, but you don't want to hang your hat on the results of just one shot, so we'll try it again. And we'll shoot from 7 yards again, and I'll make sure the bullet doesn't go through the same hole. And there you have it. I think we can pretty safely say that insulation is not a bullet stop. Well, we've got the camera's night vision on, and it's light enough that I can still see the target, but dark enough that I absolutely cannot see the sights on my revolver. So we'll shoot from 7 yards using natural point aim and see how I do. So how'd we do? Well, I fired 5 shots and I got 1 miss, which was down here, which you could argue if this target had legs, that may have been a hit. A couple others were low, 1 center and 1 in the shoulder. So the hits were in there, but they weren't really all that good. These are 8-inch diameter plates and I'm at a distance of 7 yards. And today we're talking about instinctive point shooting. Okay, 1 miss. And that looks pretty cool, but does it really have any practical value?